Okay, good morning everybody. Rob here in Bakersfield, California on the 2013 Sportster 72. And welcome to this week's Throwback Thursday. This week's story is going to be about the bomb threat at the tuna packing plant in San Diego. I was working the day shift out of the downtown Central Station, and I get a radio call to go over to a tuna packing plant in regards to a bomb threat that had been called in. Well, I get over there and get to the front gate, check in with the security guy at the gate, tell him why I'm there. He tells me, okay, we'll go park over there, and he's going to call the on-site manager, have him come meet me. So I go over and park, and I get out of the car, and I'm looking around, and you got these, they're right on the wharf. I mean, I'm parked right next to the ocean. There's big old ships. They got this big crane lifting big nets full of fish up out of the ship. They bring them over and then just dump all the fish right into the road on like a concrete pad. And then the guy in a little skip loader comes running over, scoops them up, and takes them inside the door into the processing plant. And so I'm sitting there for a few minutes watching this. And the on-site manager comes over, shakes my hand. You know, I tell him why I'm there, and he goes, yeah, he knows that they had gotten called, and you know, by regulations they had to call in the police, but he thought the call was a bunch of bullshit because they were going through some kind of labor disagreements and stuff, and with the union and everything, and so this was like the third time they had called in a bomb threat. Well, it was the first time I had heard about this, so I said, well, okay, you know, I'll do my job and go check into the plant and see what I can find. And I asked him, well, aren't you gonna shut down the assembly line and send everybody out for safety? And he goes, no, we're gonna keep on running because that's what the caller wants us for us to have to shut down. And I don't believe there's really a bomb there. I said, well, okay, good enough. And he goes, now the plant runs all the way down to there, and he points all the way down, and I swear to God, this building must have ran for at least a half a mile, if not more. Just all these buildings connected together. He says, I'll meet you down at the other end. When you get done, I'll be down there in my office. I said, okay. I go, well, has anybody reported anything suspicious, or have you got anybody acting suspicious? And he goes, no, nothing like that. All right. So I go in the door, start looking around. I step in that door. First thing that hits me, which of course I had already gotten a whiff of it, was the smell. And I swear to God, I can't think of anything worse than a smell of a fish packing plant, except maybe a dairy. So I go walking in there, and I'm, you know, looking all around, taking my time through the first section, and that's the area where they come and just dump all the fish with the skip loader, and they got people throwing them up on the conveyor belts, and it's going down the conveyor belt, and then you got all these people lining the conveyor belt, sitting there gutting the fish, cutting off the fins and the heads and the tails and stuff, and throwing that crap off to another side. And they got guys below them with shovels shoveling all that crap up into bins on rollers. And then, you know, what's left of the fish goes on down the line. Well, as I'm walking through, everybody's, you know, kind of peeking over their shoulders, looking at me. And I notice that a lot of them probably don't look like U.S. citizens to me, but, you know, I'm not there to judge. They're doing a job. That's not why I'm there. Well, I get down through the first section of the building, and I turn right to head down the other way and follow the conveyor belt along, because that's pretty much about all you can do. And so far I haven't seen anything suspicious looking and nobody acting suspicious. And by now I've probably wasted a good 10 minutes already. So So I'm thinking to myself, and I look up and I go, this damn conveyor belt goes up to the second story, running along, and they got belts running this way and belts running that way. And I'm walking along, still looking, trying to see if I see anything out of place. And I've come to the realization that it would take me all day long, if not more, to properly search that building all by myself. And I figure, well, okay, the management doesn't take it seriously, and obviously the police department doesn't take it seriously. Otherwise, they wouldn't have just sent one officer there to check it out. They would have sent more officers to check this building out. I mean, the place was huge, and there were just thousands of places to hide a bomb. So I continue looking, but it's more now just casual glancing around looking for something that stands out. And I'm looking at the operation, watching them, you know, they wash the fish, it goes through a thing, and it gets like chopped up, and it looks like it's getting steamed or cooked or something, and finally get down to the end, it's getting packed up into cans and labels put on it. So I'm finally down at the end of the building. I haven't really seen anything that sticks out to me. And I go out the last door and over to the on-site manager's office, which was like a little trailer thingy. And by now it's been almost an hour that I've wasted there. I go up, knock on his door, and he comes to the door, and he goes, well, did you find anything? I go, nope, I didn't see anything. It'd take me all day long to search this place properly. He goes, yeah, I know, we're not really worried about it. We get these calls, you know, quite a bit when we have the labor disputes. I go, well, okay, you know, I did what I could do in the amount of time I've got. And if you know, come up with anything or see anything suspicious, don't hesitate to call back, and I'll come back out. And he goes, okay. So I shook his hand and left. Walked down to my car, get in my patrol car, and I pull across the street, and I get about 1,000 feet away from the building, key up my microphone, look to my right to see if I see any explosions, which I didn't, so I figure everything's okay. Call dispatch, tell them I'm all done with the search, I'm going back into service, and lucky me, I got 3 calls sitting there waiting. So I spend the rest of my shift trying to get caught back up on calls because I got backed up on that call. And I'll tell you, it was a long time after that before I started eating tuna again. Just watching the way they process that stuff and the smell and everything turns you off. So that's my story. I didn't find any bombs. The place didn't blow up. And people kept on working. And tuna packing plants stink. I imagine most other plants do. I've been to dairies, I've been to a cheese factory before, and that stinks. You know, if you really want to get off of eating food, just go visit the processing plant where they make that food, and I swear to God, that will put you off eating that food for several years. So, hit the like button if you want to, make some comments, and subscribe, and come on back for some more. This wasn't like an exciting, dangerous call, but it was funny and interesting in a way. It was very interesting to see how they do that tuna packing stuff. Anyways, see y'all later. Bye-bye.